Welcome back, everyone. As you probably guessed from the thumbnail, we are going to talk about a few things today. We're going to be talking about the Hearing Protection Act, the current status of it, the Short Act, the current status of it, and then some industry drama that has gone on over the last 3 weeks that I have sort of been a part of, but sort of not, and now will be after this video. So I suppose we'll just start out with the drama that you guys are probably aware of. Several people have put up videos, several people have taken down videos as well based on the response to those videos. But long story short, about probably now 3 weeks ago, several people were contacted by industry insiders, I guess you'll say, as well as Pro 2A advocates with some concerning things that might be going on behind the scenes with the Hearing Protection Act. So first off, for those who don't know, the Hearing Protection Act is a bill that has been floating around Congress since at least Trump's first term. And with the new big, beautiful bill that is going into, or is progressing through Congress, I should say, a lot of advocates were pushing for that to be included in there. And basically what it would do is it would remove suppressors from the National Firearms Act. So no registry, no fingerprints, all those sorts of things. It would be transferred as a firearm. So basically you would just fill out your 4473 at your local FFL and take possession of your suppressor, and all of the NFA nonsense would go away. Additionally, if you were, if you had a homemade one or something like that, again, it wouldn't be 10 years in prison and a $250,000 fine. So that is the Hearing Protection Act. So initially, again, many of us were contacted by people who were concerned that there may be an industry insider or an industry company that was trying to, instead of get them removed, get the tax removed, the $200 tax stamp, and then keep them on the NFA and make them still have to go through all the processes. And then if somebody made one at home, they would, still be subject to 10 years in prison. And that company, of course, was Silencer Central. Many of you guys know that at this point. And I've worked with Silencer Central in the past. They probably won't want to work with me after this, but I'm just telling you what we were told, what we have seen, what they have said, and I'm going to let you guys make your mind up on that. And then we're going to get into the current status. So basically, for those who don't know, Silencer Central has a really cool system where you can essentially get a suppressor shipped to your house. I'm sure they spent millions of dollars on that. And if they were removed, they being suppressors, removed from the National Firearms Act, then that system would, be kind of null and moot at that point. So they also, though, to their credit, are also one of the biggest retailers, if not the biggest retailers of suppressors in the country, as well as manufacturers of their own line under the Banish title. And again, I have some reviews of their suppressors on the channel. You guys can check it out. They make perfectly fine suppressors. And so they made a couple donations to lobbying firms, one for $5,000. I should be rolling them in here on your screen so you guys can see them for yourself. Another one for $50,000. Now, some people said that they could have been, the way the wording was, it could have, because they're not disclosing their entire lobbying strategy, right? They're just putting a brief description. Some people said that it could have gone towards the Pittman Fund, if you will, which, for those who don't know, anything that is made, firearms-wise, made and sold in America, there is either a 10 or 11% tax that goes into a fund that is to conserve land, if you will. That's the broader oversimplification. So some people said it could have been that, and some people said no, it's to lobby for this, the status of them remaining on the NFA and coming off with the $200 tax being removed, I should say. So anyway, it gets into its first committee, which was the House Ways and Means Committee. And initially, everything was good. The Hearing Protection Act was in there, as well as the Short Act. The Short Act, for those who don't know, again, it's going to remove short barrel suppressors, short barrel rifles and short barrel shotguns is what I meant to say, from the NFA once again. So that way, if you had a shotgun that was 14 inches long, the barrel, let's say, you wouldn't be facing 10 years in prison for no apparent reason, because that makes absolutely no sense. But anyway, so it was going to remove those from there. And then when it went to the committee, the House and Ways Committee, the first draft of it, if you will, which I made a video on, the gentleman who struck it from there, let me pull this up real quick just so I don't make sure I don't get the wrong name, was Representative David Kustoff.
So let's be clear. I strongly believe that suppressors should not be regulated or registered under the National Firearm Act. And since 2017, I've supported legislation in every Congress to remove the suppressors from the NFA. I'm going to continue to do so. But right now, today, we have a unique opportunity to secure a historic win for our Second Amendment rights and gun owners across our nation. But we also have to realize the reality of the reconciliation process and what can be passed in the United States Senate. So that's why I pushed to
Gentleman's
include
time has
the
expired.
best possible deal for gun owners in this bill that will satisfy the burden. And I
Gentleman's
encourage all
time
of our
has expired.
colleagues to vote for it.
Who represents Memphis. And basically what he proposed is exactly what many people said Silencer Central was lobbying for. So removal of the tax, however, keeping suppressors on the NFA. He made multiple speeches, multiple ex-posts saying that that was all that they could get done, essentially, and it just wasn't feasible to remove suppressors from the NFA at this time, which of course it absolutely is. For those, again, who don't know, who haven't been following me on social media, President Trump has said he will sign the big, beautiful bill if Pro 2A stuff is in there. He has no objections to it whatsoever. So this is a generational opportunity for us to remove these items from the NFA that we probably won't see for a very, very, very long time if we don't get this done again with control of the House, Senate, and the White House, and this sort of like institutional momentum to get this done. So David Kustoff basically says exactly what a lot of people said Silencer Central was lobbying for. So the crazy part about that is that people started asking Silencer Central if any of the rumors were true. They made a series of posts across their social media, and I'll put some of them up here on your screen, but I will actually read the full one to you, that if they didn't do that, it doesn't make any sense to say. That's kind of my interpretation of this. So their statement right here, which should be on the screen, it says, Silencer Central has consistently and publicly stated our strong support for enactment of the Hearing Protection Act. Additionally, we strongly support any viable legislative proposals which would enhance or expand the ability of our customers to exercise their constitutional right to purchase, possess, and legally use suppressors. We are not lobbying against the HPA. So that's not what anybody accused them of. No one accused them of lobbying against the HPA. What they were accusing them of was changing the language of the HPA to, again, remove the tax stamp, but keep it on the NFA. So why would you release a statement like that? It just doesn't make any sense. And it sounds like something a lawyer would say to cover up, wrongdoing, perceived wrongdoing, if you will. That's my opinion. Now, what I will say is that we do not have a smoking gun against Silencer Central. So I wanted to wait and see what they would say. That statement, I believe, came out on Friday. And I heard that the CEO would be on Gun Talk Radio on Sunday. So I wanted to wait to see what he said. And sure enough, he was on there. There should be, if I can, depending on where you're watching this, I will put a link to Tom Gresham's show, Gun Talk Radio, which is a great show. I've been listening to that for probably 20, 30 years now. And the CEO was on there. He was asked directly by Tom, did you support removal of the $200 tax stamp, but leaving it on the NFA? He said no. Now, I will tell you, again, I've had multiple people reaching out to me over the course of many weeks, as two of them are folks that work on the Hill, if you will. So they have inside knowledge of what's going on there in terms of lobbying, as well as conversations that are going on behind closed doors. One of them told me specifically, yes, Silencer Central is doing this. Another one told me someone is doing this. We don't know who it is. And it is an industry, a gun industry company. Then we also had a very high level manufacturer who was in several of the meetings as well, reach out to me, who I've known for years as well, and he said the exact same thing was going on. So these are three people that told me that Silencer Central was doing this personally. They told me this personally, and all of these people have never told me something that didn't pan out to be true in the long run. So that is where we're at. The CEO says absolutely did not happen. So I have no way to prove it. Other people told me absolutely it did happen. I will let you guys make your mind up with the evidence that we have on that case in terms of Silencer Central. So with that, where are we at right now? So it got out of the House Ways and Means Committee. Magically, there was all of a sudden a way to do it. So of course that was on Tuesday. It went back into committee to be reconsidered. On Friday, it got pushed forward out of the House Ways and Means Committee with the Hearing Protection Act in there, so that way suppressors again would be removed from the NFA and the tax stamp would also be removed. So good on them for that. However, the Short Act was not in there. So it has gone forward to another committee, and that's essentially where it is right now. It was voted on last night. And the language that we're getting out of that So that was Sunday night, is from Representative Clyde. And basically he said this: we've made progress in eliminating both the taxation and registration of suppressors under the NFA. I'm fighting to restore additional Second Amendment constitutional rights, and we will continue negotiating in good faith to improve this legislation before we pass the final product. So again, it's made it into another committee, supposedly out of it. I haven't seen the text of it. I'm recording this right around noon on Monday. So we haven't seen the text of it yet, but he's saying, which I believe, I have no reason not to believe him, Representative Clyde has been a stalwart, according to all of my sources on the Hill, in terms of keeping these pieces of legislation in there. So I have no reason to doubt him. So that's what he's saying. And so, again, what he's implying there, at least my take on it, is that the Short Act still isn't in there. So what do we need to do? Well, basically, we need to contact every single member of Congress, period, but especially if you guys have a member of Congress who is in the House Freedom Caucus. These are the people who claim to support this sort of thing. They're all out there in every interview they give talking about SNAP benefits, talking about spending, talking about Medicaid, and all of those things are important, of course. I'm not trying to say they're not. They absolutely are. Tax breaks, all important. But we need to get them, when they start listing off what they're talking about, their talking points, they need to be aware that we're also going to restore the Second Amendment rights of American citizens, right? So those sorts of things need to be a talking point. So if you have a congressional member who is especially a member of the House Freedom Caucus, but even if they're not, I will put their contact information down below in the video description. Again, depending on where you're watching this, it will be there if I can. And definitely, we need to get loud, email them, call them, tag them on X, let them know this is what we want. We want the Short Act, and we want the Hearing Protection Act as written in this bill as it advances forward to the president. Now, what if they don't, right? Like, hypothetically, if this gets out of the House and goes to the Senate with just the Hearing Protection Act in there, is that good? Yes, it's definitely good. It's not as good as it could be. Again, this is a generational opportunity that we have here. So if it gets to the Senate, at that point, we're going to be rallying the senators, who obviously they all have an equal vote on that, to amend the bill and put both acts back in there again. Well, Hearing Protection Act as well as the Short Act, and then it would go back to the House real quickly, be up for a vote almost immediately in theory, and go back to the Senate for a final vote before it would go to the president. So I say that to say there's still plenty of time for two things to happen. One, for the Senate to, if they wanted to, remove the Hearing Protection Act from it. However, from everything I'm hearing right now, that doesn't look like that's going to be the case, but we need to remain vigilant and make sure they know we want it in there. And then additionally, there's still time to get the Short Act in there. Absolutely, 100%. Both of those things are doable with the people we have right now. So that is where we're at as of about noon on Monday. That is the latest update, and we'll probably be doing more updates because I see this playing out in various different ways over the next few days. So we'll be keeping an eye on it. Definitely watch all of my social media, because that's where this stuff breaks first. I can't make a full video with everything all the time whenever something happens, but watch all my social media. I will be posting it if we get updates, all of those sorts of things. If you guys aren't following me there, definitely start, especially on X, Truth Social. They're really good. They don't censor me like the other platforms do. Additionally, if you are subscribed and you're not seeing 2 to 4 videos a week here on the channel, hit the subscribe button. If you've done that and you're still not seeing them, and you're being censored by an algorithm, easy way to get around that is to sign up for the email at the website here on the screen. This will get you put on 2 different emails. One that goes out once a month, and it has all of the videos since the previous month's email went out, so that way there's no big tech giant censoring your eyes from my content. Additionally, it'll get you put on the Daily Deals email, which goes out pretty much daily, as the name indicates, and it has somewhere between 8 to 10 of the best deals that we find around the internet. If the item, whatever the item is the cheapest that I know of for that item, it will go in the email, so that way it saves you guys some time and also saves you some money, because I've already done the price comparisons for you. There's also a good meme in there that a lot of folks like, so you guys can sign up just for the meme if you want to. Additionally, we have an SMS list that you guys can sign up for at the website here on your screen. That goes out at most once a day. Typically, it's a great deal that I know is going to sell out. Like this morning, I just put the styes on in there, and it sold out in like 10 minutes. So if you guys want to get notified when really hot deals are in stock, definitely sign up for the SMS list. And there's also the other type of things I will send out the SMS lists are going to be links to new videos that are dropping. Once again, getting around the algorithm so you guys can actually see my content. What a crazy concept. With that, guys, that's all I got for you. We got to get active. The fight isn't over. It's still ongoing. We still have some stuff to do, but I think we are moving in the right direction at this point. But again, there's a long way to go. All right, that's all I got for you. Thanks for watching. We'll see all of you in the next video.